everyone, welcome back to a brand new video, or welcome to our YouTube channel if this is the first video of ours that you're watching. If you haven't seen any of our previous videos, my name is Neva and my fiance Louis and I bought this 1970s build house back in December 2021 and we've been renovating since. So we've been renovating now for almost a year and a half, which is crazy. As you can see from the title of this video, I am going to do an updated house tour, but I'm also going to go through all of our plans basically. I'm going to go around each room and show you lots of inspiration pictures, some mood boards that I've done, and just try to give you a real idea of how the house is going to look in the future and what we sort of have in our minds. I also thought it would be a good opportunity for me to sort of highlight a little bit of the reality of renovating as well, because even though we're really excited to see the house and the renovation progress and to just continue working on the house until we get to like the final finished product, there's also a part of it for us that is a very, very long process. This isn't going to happen overnight. In some ways, I wish that it could and that we could just get everything done that we need to get done, but that isn't how it's going to work for us. It's definitely a very, very like long-term project. We knew that from like before we moved into the house, and we are definitely doing this renovation to last us forever. We see this as our forever home. We're putting a lot of time and money and effort into the house to make it exactly how we want it, rather than obviously if you were just doing a renovation maybe to sell on or whatever, you probably wouldn't put as much into it as we're putting into this house. But yeah, that is why we're doing what we're doing with this house. It is to last us hopefully forever. But yeah, I just thought it would be nice in a way to highlight the reality in terms of the very, 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 very long list of jobs that we still have to do, and sometimes it can be really overwhelming and sometimes it can be difficult if you are doing a renovation. I know I like to follow other people's renovation journeys on like social media and stuff, but it can sometimes be a bit disheartening when you can see other people just like getting stuff done and the house is like fully renovated within a few months or whatever. But obviously everyone's situation is very, very different, and every single renovation is completely different. So even though our situation will be very different to anybody else's watching this video, I just thought it would maybe be nice to show a little bit of the reality. I'm obviously gonna like run through each room and basically just reel off the list of jobs that we still need to do. Like I say, we're really excited about it, but it is also a lot. We have a lot to do and it's gonna take us a really, really long time. We have no idea how long this renovation is going to last. We have no idea of like an end date or anything. We literally are just doing this month on month while we live. We've got a lot of other life things going on. We're getting married. Lots of our friends are getting married. There's just lots going on in the background. So if you're in a similar situation that you're doing a renovation and it's quite a slow burner, hopefully this might make you feel a little bit better just to see how far we've still got to go with ours. I also thought it would be a good time to do a little bit of an updated house tour. I did do one, I think it was a few months after we moved in, so I will link that down below if you want to go back and see what the house looked like before we did the major renovations that we've done. So yeah, I thought this would be a good point to do an update because we are now at the stage where all of the building work is done. That was completed last summer. So the house is now at a stage where the layout and sort of the main work has been completed. So you can get a real idea of like the space and stuff. Just to give a little bit of like background detail if anybody hasn't seen any of our other videos, what we did was we didn't buy this house in the normal way that people buy a house. We actually used to live around the corner from this house, and we basically used to just pass the house every day, and we saw a lot of potential. When we first saw the house, it was occupied. There was an old couple that lived here. I did do a whole video about the house and how we came to buy it. I'll also link that video below as well if you are interested in that. But we basically ended up bumping in to the owner of the house. We expressed our interest basically and said that we would like to buy it, because when we bumped into him, he was clearing it, and it was his parents' house. They'd gone into a home, so it was empty, and he was planning to sell at some point. So we said that we would be interested if he would let us know sort of when it was empty, when he'd got it valued, give us an idea of price, and we could then sell our house, which is what happened. We ended up buying privately, so it never went up on the market, which if it had have done, I don't think we ever would have got it. So we were really lucky that it went the way that it did, and yeah, that's basically how we ended up buying it. So we sort of took on the renovation because we wanted the house. A renovation, I think, was something that especially Louis was interested in, but it wasn't really in our like life plans to sort of sell our house and do a renovation. It just so happened that this house was available and we wanted it. We knew that we could turn it into our like family home, our forever home. So yeah, we just sort of jumped headfirst into it, took on the renovations, which ended up being quite big renovations. So when we first moved in, we weren't 100% sure what we were actually going to do. We knew exactly the sort of extension that we wanted to do, but we just didn't know when we were going to do it. We hadn't had any quotes from builders or anything like that. We literally just moved in a little bit clueless as to what order we were going to do things in or when things were going to get done. So we did consider living here for a year or so, just as the house was, save up as much as we could, because we didn't have a massive budget to do a renovation. However, the price of everything was going up so rapidly that we just felt like it was gonna be better to do it as soon as possible. Obviously we wanted to do it as soon as possible, but yeah, in terms of like the price increases of everything, if we'd have waited a year, saved up more, that probably wouldn't have put us in any better position. So we ended up living here for, I think it was about 6 months, and pretty much doing nothing. And then we got the extensions done in June last year. So we actually ended up just going for the shell of the extension, because Louis is an electrician, one of Louis's friends is a plumber, we knew of a plasterer, so we did end up saving quite a lot of money doing it that way. So the builders literally just came in and built the shell. It was just brick and a roof, and then we were sort of left on our own to do the rest. So the actual extension itself, the time that the builders were here doing it, was literally about 6 weeks. They started in June and they were done by the end of July. And then yeah, they left, and it was literally just up to Louis basically after work to do all of the rewire and all of the electrics in the extension. Same with our plumber, he just came and sort of worked on our house after work. So things definitely slowed down for us between sort of August and December, and in that time we actually did end up moving out because it got really bad. We had no water supply, especially as like the weather started changing. Obviously we had no heat and we had no hot water. We literally couldn't live here, so it wasn't part of our plan, but we did end up moving out for quite a few months and living with Louis's mum. So we ended up sort of moving back in early December. We were in for Christmas, which I was really, really happy about. And since then, we have just chipped away every weekend and any free time that we have. We've just sort of slowly got it to the point that it's at now. So it's nowhere near finished at the moment. There's still certain rooms that don't have flooring. All of the walls have had one mist coat, so if things are looking quite patchy, that's why. We've got a complete mixture of furniture, and yeah, it's nowhere near finished, but it's livable, and that's all that matters at the moment. We managed to get a second-hand kitchen off Facebook Marketplace. We're just sort of making do with what we've got at the moment. Like I mentioned earlier, we are getting married literally in a matter of months, a couple of months. So the house is at a little bit of a standstill at the moment, but it's livable, and that's all that matters. So yeah, I just wanted to give a little brief sort of overview for anyone that hasn't seen any of our previous videos. If you are interested to see the whole process of the renovation, I've done renovation vlogs right from the very beginning, so go back and watch those if you are interested. So yeah, I'm going to jump straight into the house tour. I really hope that you enjoy watching it. If you are interested in seeing what the house looked like before, I will link that video below. I definitely would recommend watching that video because it has been a massive transformation. So I'm going to start here in the hallway and just gradually work my way through the rest of the house, but this is how the hallway is currently looking. So I have recently done a little bit of a like mini reno on this hallway. Just over the past couple of months, I've painted the banister, I've painted the stairs, I've stained the wood on the stairs, and I've also painted the walls, which probably seems a little bit silly because we will be plastering these walls. Obviously we've got lots of holes in the walls are chased where we've done the rewire and things like that, but realistically it's going to cost us quite a lot to get this hallway plastered, and I managed to get some paint in the sale for £6.99, so it was a really cheap transformation of the hallway just to see us through a little bit longer. I just thought if I could make the hallway a little bit more homely, a little bit nicer, then it might be a year, it might be 2 years, it might be less until we can get it plastered, but the nicer it's looking, the longer we can leave it alone basically. So yeah, if you are interested in seeing the whole process of me sort of doing up this hallway, again, I've vlogged the whole thing, so I'll link those videos down below. But yeah, this is how it's currently looking. Ignore the fact that the flooring is half finished. This is a job that's still ongoing. Long-term plans for the hallway. I'll be popping in lots of like inspiration pictures, mood boards, things like that as I'm talking through our plans. Starting off with some of like the bigger jobs that we need to do, the more expensive jobs. We will of course be getting a new front door, but one thing we do want to do with the front door, which we've always known that we were going to do, is we're basically going to push it forward a little bit. So the door is actually like recessed. We've got almost a little like porch area outside, but we would really just like to utilise that space inside instead of it being outside. So we do plan when we get a new front door, it will be fitted like flush with the rest of the house, so we will actually gain, I think it's about 60 centimetres we'll gain inside, which will be really nice just to open up the hallway even more. Another thing that we might do well into the future, we're not 100% set on this yet, but it is an option. We might possibly knock a hole out of this wall, so sort of like knock a doorway out of here. Behind this wall we do have another room, which you'll see in a minute, but we do have the space to sort of eat into the room behind this wall to create a built-in like storage cupboard here right at the front door. I think it would be really useful to have like a coat and shoe storage right here, so as soon as you walk in you've got somewhere to put your coat, put your shoes. Obviously we'll also have that little bit extra space in here, so that's a possibility for us to do that well into the future, but for the time being we've just got this little shoe storage thing which works perfectly. So another job that we will definitely be doing is updating the whole like staircase banister situation. This is probably quite a typical like 1970s banister, but we definitely want to like open all of this and get some nice spindles. I'm not 100% sure what I want yet, but this isn't a job that we'll be doing anytime soon, so we've got plenty of time to decide exactly what we want. But I'm thinking definitely some oak, probably an oak banister, possibly oak spindles, but I do quite like the sort of iron like metal black spindles. The whole house, by the way, will follow quite a modern traditional style, I would say. I like the mixture of old and new. So yeah, we'll definitely be changing the banister. The actual stairs, I'm not 100% sure what we'll do with those. Obviously they're fully intact and they are absolutely fine. The only problem with them at the moment is the creakiness. They are very, very like old creaky stairs. So we'll probably speak to a joiner at some point to see whether we should replace any of the stairs like now, before we put carpet down or anything. We might as well do those things now. But then I definitely want to do a carpet runner just up the middle of the stairs with some brass carpet rods. Again, I'll pop in some inspiration pictures so you can probably just get an idea of all the things that are going on in my head. But yeah, that is definitely what I'm thinking for the staircase. We do have like understairs cupboard here. I don't know how well you can see this. The door is currently off because we're in the middle of laying the flooring, but for now we'll just use that probably as like coat and shoe storage until we possibly knock that doorway out there in the future. But yeah, we've got a understair cupboard at the moment, so that's great. So then obviously, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we will be plastering all of the walls and ceilings in the hallway. Obviously we've got lots of big holes and stuff, so yeah, that's a job that we will do. And then in terms of actual like decoration, colour schemes, things like that, I want to panel all of the hallway, stairs and landing basically. I've wanted to do this for years. I wanted to do it in our old house and then we ended up moving. Obviously it's not something that we'll do anytime soon, and it's things like this that we probably will end up spending quite a bit on, but because we're doing this for us and it's going to be our house, we're doing it to sort of our specifications and our style. So yeah, I do want to panel all of it. Again, I'll pop in some pictures so that you can get an idea of what I'm thinking, but I want it to be sort of like inverted paneling rather than just sticking sort of like dado rail and mouldings to the wall. I want it to be more sort of MDF with mouldings to give that inverted panel look. And then in terms of colours, I do want the hallway to be nice and like bright, airy, inviting, but it can be difficult sometimes to style a hallway or to really give the hallway a lot of character because it's quite often just a very narrow space, not very big. You can't really add much furniture, things like that. So I do want to add a little bit of depth with the wall colour, but I do still want it to be quite light. I do also want to add a radiator cover. You can just see the top of the radiator here. I didn't go for like a fancy radiator in the hallway because I knew that I wanted a radiator cover. I just think that obviously the cover the radiator, that's the whole point, because radiators aren't always the nicest things to look at. But I also like the fact that it just provides that little shelf that you can just add little like decorative items to and just add a little bit of like style and interest to a hallway. So yeah, I will definitely be putting a radiator cover over this radiator, and I'll probably paint that the same colour as the walls so that it's all just really nice and seamless. So then to the left of the hallway we have our living room, or what will be our living room. We're not currently using this room for anything. It's been used for a few different things over the past few months. It is the one room downstairs that has a door. You'll notice as we go through the entire house, but we have no internal doors downstairs. That is another job on our list. We need all doors, all architraves, everything. But yeah, this does still have the like original door that was on when we moved in. So up until quite recently, this room was almost being used as a bit of a garage, very much just like a storage room. Louis was using this room to like cut the floor in. It was a little bit of like a workshop sort of thing. So over the past couple of months, we've completely cleared it, given it a big clean up, a big tidy, and we've just laid the floor in here. It's still a little bit of a mess, so just try and see past all of the bits and bobs that are everywhere. I have done a little bit of a clean up for this video, but haven't moved everything. We just don't have the space to move everything. So Louis also been doing a little bit of work on the fireplace as well. So he put in a new lintel to support like the whole chimney breast above, and knocked out some of the bricks because the back boiler was originally behind this fireplace and the hole was only quite small, and we do plan on probably putting our electric log burner in here for the time being, but maybe one day in the future we might get a real log burner. So we wanted to just make the opening a little bit bigger, so that's another job that Louis has quite recently done. So you can see behind me here, these are a couple of internal doors that we actually got off Facebook Marketplace. These just popped up and were the exact style of door that I'd seen online that I wanted to buy brand new. So we actually ended up getting 3 of the doors off Facebook Marketplace. So that's another job that we haven't got those hung yet, but they're just being stored in here for the time being. But yeah, jobs for this room. Again, we'll get all of the walls and ceiling plastered. You'll notice one of the walls is already freshly plastered. That is because we actually put that stud wall up. This used to be an open plan lounge dining room sort of thing. Quite typical of like a 1970s house, but yeah, this went right from like the front to the back of the house and was just open lounge diner. So we put that wall there to separate this off, and this is going to be our separate like cozy living space. So yeah, we need to get all the other walls and the ceiling plastered, and to be honest, this room is probably one that won't take as long or take as much to actually get finished. Once the walls have been plastered, we can then literally decorate. So my plans for this room are basically dark and cozy. I want really, really dark walls. I'm gonna go for a very, very dark green on the walls. And then luckily pretty much all of our living room furniture fits in here perfectly. So we actually have a lot of the furniture that just needs moving in here and we're good to go. So yeah, hopefully this is a room that will come together quite quickly. Another thing that I do want to do in this room is I want to add some sort of plaster moulding design to the ceiling. I want to give off that sort of Victorian, Edwardian style in this room. Obviously the house isn't Victorian or Edwardian, but I just really, really like the detail in the plaster mouldings. I'd like a really nice ceiling rose. So yeah, that is something that I would definitely like to do in this room. We've put wiring in for some wall lights, so we'll have wall lights either side of the fireplace. And yeah, that's all of sort of the bigger jobs that we need to do in this room. Then it'll obviously just be sort of dressing the room. We need new blinds everywhere. This room has got a massive window, which I do really love, but it's not always ideal in terms of privacy. So we've currently still just got the original like vertical blinds that were here when we moved in, but I imagine at some point in the future we will maybe get some Venetian blinds and floor length curtains. I'll definitely be getting a nice big rug for this room as well. We just decided to go for like a laminate floor right throughout the downstairs. Obviously we do have a little dog, so it's just practical, but I definitely want a big rug in here. I also want to buy a footstool for in here. But yeah, that is the vibe for this room. Very dark, very cozy and full of character. So at the end of the hallway you walk into this open plan kitchen, dining, living room. So this is definitely the biggest room, the biggest area of the house. And this is something we knew we wanted to do from the very start. We really wanted that open plan kitchen, dining, living space, but we also knew that we really wanted a separate living room, which is why we separated that front room off that I've just showed you. But yeah, we knew that we wanted a nice big space like this that we would use majority of the time. This is where we spend most of the day and will probably be where we'll always spend majority of the time. If we have family around, if we have people around, if we're doing anything, this is like the main room where it all happens. So obviously we've got the nice big bifold doors here, which we knew we wanted. Again, I was mindful when I was sort of like designing the layout of the house exactly where I wanted these bifold doors, because I really wanted to be able to see right through to the back garden. So as soon as you walk in the house at the end of the hallway, you can actually see right through these bifold doors. So we ended up going for, I think it's 4.5 meters of bifolds. We did also get the built-in blinds, so the blinds are actually in between the glass, so you can literally just close the blinds off like that, which is really, really handy. That is something that we did pay quite a lot extra for, but definitely something that we thought was worth the money. Obviously you don't have to clean the blinds, they're completely built in, you don't have to worry about them blowing in the wind or anything like that. The bifolds are still fully functional. So yeah, that is something that I'm really glad that we went for. So I'll start with this sort of like living area section over here, just while I'm stood in this area. So this is like the living area of the open plan room. So we've got these two little accent chairs here. These are actually from Next, and these are brand new. We bought these specifically like for the house, for the renovation. We've actually had them for a long time. We had them well before the extension was even built, but we managed to get some discount off them. So yeah, we just went ahead and sort of bought them like ages ago. So it's nice to see them actually like in place. So then on the other side here, we've currently got this love seat which matches our sofa in the living room. We've got a corner sofa and we've got a love seat. These obviously came with us from our old house, and these will be going into the new living room once that is ready for us to move into. But for now, we do have the corner sofa set up in our little temporary living room, but this doesn't actually fit. So we've just got this love seat here for the time being, but this does give a good representation of what the setup will be like in this area. We will get a new sofa in the future and a new coffee table, but this is how I wanted this area to be. It's very much sort of like social seating. Obviously, we will use this area a lot, but this, I imagine, will be more of like the daytime area. If people are coming around for a cup of tea or something, this is where they can sit down and chill whilst we're in the kitchen. I'll get onto the kitchen next. Another thing that we do really want to do in this area, just ignore all of this here, this is our flooring that we're still in the process of laying, but this wall basically is where the house used to end, so that's why we've got this sort of column that goes down here. We've also got the column like in the middle of the room, because the steel beam was too long basically to have it all completely open plan. We needed to incorporate a column just to like prop the steel beam up. So yeah, basically on this wall, I always knew that I wanted a log burner basically. I've almost sort of designed this area of the room around having a log burner in the centre of this wall. I just think for a room like this, it'll give so much character, it'll just create a cosy feel in quite a big room. Obviously we've gone for a very big open plan kitchen, dining, living room, and yeah, I've just had my heart set on this log burner for a very long time now. So when the build was happening, I actually asked our architect to put on the plans for like this column to be on the external wall of the house instead of internal, just so that we didn't have to worry about this sticking out. This whole wall should have been flush, but basically our builder ordered the beam going across the ceiling in the wrong size basically. I didn't follow the plan that the architect had done, so unfortunately we did end up having this column coming down this wall. So this sticks out about 25-30 centimetres, but it's in such an awkward place because it's almost like right in the middle of the wall, which is exactly where the log burner needs to go. So essentially our log burner is going to have to sit in front of this, which just means everything is going to be shifted forward by 25 to 30 centimetres. But I'm still determined that the log burner is going to fit in and it's all going to be fine. I have spoken to a fireplace professional and he did say that it should be fine, we should still be able to do it. And the overall plan for this wall is to basically build the whole wall out. So the log burner will sit in front of this, right in the middle of the wall, and then either side we'll have probably some like built-in cabinetry either side, and then maybe some shelves. We do have the cables in place to have either wall lights or maybe sort of like shelf lighting, something like that. Again, I'll pop in inspiration pictures because, like I mentioned, we are going more traditional rather than like modern, trendy. So I really want this, again, to be quite a characterful focal point of the room. I'm thinking maybe stone around the fireplace. But yeah, this wall will all change quite a lot and I can't wait to have that log burner in place. And then over on this side, just above where the sofa is, or where the new sofa will be, we'll probably just have maybe one or like two pieces of art, just something decorative on that wall. And then yeah, this will just be the cosy, relaxed, social living area of the room. Another thing that we also need to do in every single room of the house is get skirting boards. We need architraves around all of the doors. We need the actual internal doors, I know I've mentioned that. And I also want quite detailed crown moulding everywhere. Again, sort of like traditional vibes. And obviously for like this sort of section, once we get a new sofa, a new coffee table, the log burner and that whole media wall set up, we'll just need accessories. Again, I want a rug in this section, and then we'll just need like cushions, throws and like ornaments and accessories, things to go on the shelves once that is all built. So then very quickly, just moving around a little bit to this area. This here that you can see is the structural column, and this is our dining area. So this is sort of right in the middle of the room and it just fits perfectly. We've currently got this dining table which we actually bought not long before we moved, so we did have it in our old house. It's actually a extendable dining table. It's made from reclaimed wood and it's from Barker and Stonehouse. I actually got it in the sale, but yeah, I do love the table. The main reason that I got it was because it needed to fit into a much smaller kitchen in our old house, but the fact that it extends means that we can now use it as a 6-seater. So yeah, I absolutely love this dining table, and again, this is something that is permanent. This will definitely be staying. However, the dining chairs, these are also fairly new, maybe it's only a couple of years old, maybe 2 or 3 years old. These were actually from the range, and I'm pretty certain, sorry about Nelson, I'm pretty certain that it was £90 for a pair, so literally like £45 each, so really cheap chairs, and they do the job perfectly. I'm not too fussed about like getting brand new dining chairs, but something I do definitely want to do is reupholster these, because the sort of charcoal grey colour is just not matching my vibe. It's not matching the colour scheme that I've got for this room. Obviously the accent chairs that we've got are like a tan leather, and yeah, the sort of dark grey colour isn't really doing the job for me. So yeah, I'll probably look into getting these reupholstered one day in the future. Also, this light that we've got here is temporary as well. This was actually given to me by my best friend, and it just goes up there perfectly for now. Obviously when it comes to it in the future and we're sort of buying all of the lighting and things for this room, we probably will change it. But yeah, I love the fact that we've got a nice feature light up there for now. So then moving on to the kitchen area, this is going to be a little bit difficult for me to show you. I'll obviously put some clips over the top of me speaking, but this is our second-hand kitchen off Facebook Marketplace. We got this for £200, which included all of the appliances. We got fridge, freezer, the oven, the sink. We did get an extractor fan as well, but obviously we weren't able to make use of that. We didn't get a hob, so we actually just have like a plug-in countertop hob that we get out while we're cooking tea, put away afterwards. The kitchen was originally an ivory gloss, but I recently upcycled the kitchen as well. Again, I did a whole video on that, so I'll link all of these videos below, but I decided to go for this nice green colour, something a little bit bold, because this kitchen is just temporary, so I just thought it was perfect timing for me to go for a little bit of a bolder colour. So because this obviously is the biggest room in the house, it is going to be the most expensive room for us to properly like finish and get completed, mainly because we obviously need to buy the kitchen. So we have paid a deposit for our kitchen, and we will be aiming to get that fitted either the end of this year or the very beginning of next year. Just because of everything that we've got going on with the wedding and everything, it's just not really the time for us to be ripping this out and getting our new one in. We're just gonna make do with what we've got. It took quite a lot of time and effort for Louis and Louis's mum's boyfriend to like sort of fit this kitchen as it is. Obviously because it came out of somebody else's house, we had to like reconfigure a lot of it. So yeah, we're just gonna stick with this for the time being, and it does the job. Obviously we can cook a meal, so that's all that really matters. But I will pop in the kitchen plans that we've had done from TCAS, and obviously they'll just give you an idea of how the kitchen is gonna be. So if you can see like over this area here, this again is another structural column that we had to have on this side of the house. So you can see from the kitchen plans, we've actually decided to make that into a mantle that'll go over the hob. So it just sort of makes it look like that column is supposed to be there, and it's actually incorporated into the kitchen instead of just having like a random column running down the middle of the wall. We've actually been able to properly merge that into the kitchen, which I'm really happy about. And then you can just see over on this side, we do have this little section as well, which when we get the new kitchen fitted, this wall here will be full length, floor to ceiling, fridge, a full length freezer, and a like tower double oven and microwave unit. So yeah, I'm not gonna like talk through too much of the kitchen because I'll have popped in the plans anyway, and you'll be able to get a much better idea just from the plans alone. But yeah, this area here, round about where I'm stood now, will be the island. We'll have some bar stools. Again, we've got 2 bar stools upstairs which we brought from our old house, which are perfectly fine. I don't really see any need in us getting new ones. However, they are like a teal blue colour, so again I'll probably just look at getting those reupholstered. I'll pop in the mood board that I've done for this room as well, because that'll give you a proper idea of like the colour scheme on the walls in here. I'm thinking of keeping this room quite light and neutral, similar to the hallway. Obviously it's a big room, so it could take a slightly darker colour, but yeah, I definitely don't want to go like dark in here. I've actually got some paint samples. So just to give you a very quick idea, this is one of the paint samples that I've got for this room. It's quite difficult to see unless you sort of put it against something white, but yeah, I'm just thinking like a neutral colour in here with like lots of warmth. Obviously our dining table is a nice dark wood, and I probably will just incorporate some green tones again. Nothing, I don't want to overdo the green. I'm loving green at the moment, but I just want to do it quite subtly. So just off our kitchen, dining, living room, we have the utility room. So this is quite a sort of long and narrow room, and it actually took us quite a long time to figure out the sort of layout and the floor plan of the house. Me and Louis did do it ourselves. We sat every single night, we did so many different floor plans. But our house is detached, so we do have like 2 side paths, and that side of the house over there is the side that we were extending. So we do still have a side path on that side, but it's a little bit skinnier. It's around about 1 metre, whereas on this side, the side path ended up being quite a bit bigger. I think it's about 1.6 metres. So we ideally wanted to sort of use this side for access in and out. Obviously if we're coming in with the dog or anything like that, we wanted to use the bigger side path, which meant that the utility had to sort of be on this side of the house. So we've got a door leading to the side path, the side of the house. Obviously you can see this is one of the rooms that we haven't yet laid the floor in. We're going to have to completely empty this room, lay the floor, and then obviously refill it. This is also a room that I haven't quite tidied for this video. This is obviously just a bit of a storage room. There's just a bit of everything in here. We've got a fridge freezer that was here when we moved into the house, and we actually ended up getting a fridge freezer included in the like Facebook Marketplace kitchen that we've got. So we decided to keep this one and just put it in here. We've obviously got our washing machine. We've got just a little like kitchen unit over there, which was from my dad's old kitchen, so we're just trying to make use of that, somewhere to store like our washing powder and things like that. Obviously this is where we do have the boiler as well, so you'll see from the inspiration pictures that I'll put in, I took a lot of inspiration from Sophie Patterson, interior designer. I absolutely love her utility room. I love the 2 tall units either side, so that is basically exactly what we'll be sort of replicating in here. We'll have a full floor to ceiling unit either side, so obviously the one over this side will box in the boiler, so the boiler won't be on shore, it'll be housed in a floor to ceiling tall unit. And then we will have a Belfast sink right in the middle, and then obviously just like an integrated washing machine, maybe a couple of cupboards above. Obviously we'll try and utilise the space as much as possible for storage and things like that, but yeah, that is the plan, and that is why we decided to put the boiler where we did, so that we knew it could be boxed in. Obviously the flooring that will be going down in here is just the same as everywhere else. We've run that throughout the entire house, well, throughout the entire downstairs. So in terms of colour schemes in here, I'm not 100% sure what I want to go for in here. Obviously again, this is a room that we might consider putting the Facebook Marketplace kitchen that we've currently got. We might move that into here when we get our new kitchen fitted. Obviously we might as well make the most of what we've got. But again, as long as we've got what we need in here, obviously our washing machine is in here, it's plumbed in, it works fine. So everything else is, I suppose, cosmetic in a way. Obviously we do need the storage because we currently don't have a garage or a shed really. So that's why there's a lot of random things throughout the house. But yeah, this isn't a room that we're planning to tackle anytime soon. It will probably stay as it is for quite a while. But yeah, I do think it would be nice to go for different coloured units to our kitchen. Our kitchen is just going to be fairly neutral. We're not going for anything too like out there in the kitchen. So it might be nice to bring in a little bit of colour in here, but I'm not really sure what colour. Obviously everyone is loving green at the moment, including me, but I don't want to follow any trends, or yeah, I'm not 100% sure about colour, but hopefully we will go for something a little bit more colourful in here. So another room that we have downstairs is this little downstairs toilet. So again, you'll see from the clips that this is just quite a narrow little room. Obviously it doesn't need to be anything too big, it's literally just a downstairs toilet, but this is obviously something we definitely wanted to like incorporate when we were doing the plans and the layout and everything. So at the moment there's very little for me to sort of show in here. It's another room that we are literally using as storage again for random bits. We've got a lot of our underlay in here, and yeah, the only thing that we've sort of got in place is the actual plumbing. So we do have our radiator on the wall, we've got the plumbing for the sink and for the toilet. So I do have quite a lot of design ideas for this little room. I do want to go very dramatic in here. Obviously you'll be able to see from the images that I'm putting in and from my mood board, I'm thinking half paneling in here with wallpaper above. I absolutely love this wallpaper. I've had it on my mood board for a really long time, and I do think that it would be nice to go for a bit of a different colour in here. I would like to bring in some more colours as well, so I'm thinking maybe a very dark blue for the lower half paneling. We've got wiring in the walls for wall lights either side of the mirror, and we'll just go for a very small sink unit. But for the toilet, I really want to go for a high cistern toilet. I think that'll just make a really big statement, and I love the look of them. But yeah, my theme for any of like the bathrooms or anything in this house is I want them to feel homely. I don't want it to be too much of a bathroom feel. I don't want it to be all tiled or anything like that. I really like the idea of having some wallpaper in here. So yeah, I'm really excited about this room coming together. And obviously because this is such a small room, even though we've got quite big plans for it, hopefully it's one that we can look at doing fairly soon. Obviously again, like every other room, we need architraves, we need an actual door, we need skirting boards, all of that. But yeah, that is our downstairs toilet. And then the final room for me to show you downstairs is what we are using as our temporary living room. So obviously you've seen the room that will eventually be our permanent living room, but until that is plastered and ready for us to sort of move into, this is the room that we're using as our living room. We were really lucky that our living room furniture fits so well into this room, and it's just done us so well over the past few months having a nice little living area. So long-term plans for this room, it won't be a living room. Obviously we've got the other living room, we've got a living area in the kitchen, dining, living room. We definitely don't need another living room. Our plans for this room one day is for it to be a playroom, somewhere to put all of the kids' toys, and obviously it'll be a room that can hopefully sort of like grow with our kids one day, and maybe be a bit of a games room, that sort of thing. Obviously there's lots of options for this room. It could be a home office. I do work from home most days, but our plan at the moment, once we've moved our living room furniture out of here, we probably won't touch this room until we're at that stage and maybe we have kids and we're ready to change it into a playroom. Obviously it wouldn't make much sense for us to create a home office in here and then decide to have kids and just have to redo the entire room. So yeah, this again won't be a room that we'll do anything with until the time comes. So for that reason, I don't really have any set plans for this room, but obviously I do have some ideas. I do think it would be really nice to have a full built-in sort of almost like a media wall. We probably will have a TV in here, and I think this will be a room that storage will be key. So yeah, maybe we'll do a full media wall with sort of built-in cupboards, and then maybe a small sofa in here. And obviously if it was to be a playroom, we would hopefully be able to create a really fun practical room. But yeah, obviously this isn't a room that we have made any set plans for yet, but for the time being we're happy for this to be our little living room. So you've now seen all of the downstairs. I'm not going to show you the garden because the garden is just a write-off at the moment. We've done nothing to it since the builders left last year, so there's nothing going on in the garden, and it just needs a really big tidy up. So I'm not going to take you outside, but yeah, that is all of downstairs. So because I've talked so much in this video, it is probably going to end up being quite a long video. So I think what I'm going to actually do is do sort of like a part 2 and do upstairs as its own separate video, just to keep the length down. I don't want to just ramble on for like hours. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this downstairs house tour here. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing the progress and hearing about our plans. Keep an eye out for the next video if you are interested to see the upstairs house tour. And yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.